Last night, the Nats offense exploded in the Trop, bashing out 23 hits and scoring 16 runs. Tonight, the series moves to our nation's capital, where Rays righty Steve Geltz is the first man up, looking to slow down Bryce Harper and the Nats. Wednesday Showdown is brought to you by your Tampa Bay area Mazda dealers. This home and home interleague matchup now moves to the nation's capital. We greet you from Nationals Park as the Rays take on the Washington Nationals. Hi again, everyone. Welcome to an evening of Rays baseball. Tonight the Rays move into Washington. They're even in the series here with the Washington Nationals at a game apiece. 2 games here with Brian Anderson, Dwayne Stats. Great to have you aboard. And BA, tonight, the Rays will go back to Game 4 of the regular season to find their starting pitcher. Steve Geltz will come out of the bullpen.
This is why we call him the Swiss Army knife of this ball club. He will do whatever is asked of him. All you need to know about Steve Geltz's season is this is his second start, and he also has 2 saves. I mean, and everything in between. He's covering it all, and he's covering it well. And when you look at his numbers, they're outstanding. You know, he's got a 2.63 earned run average, and in 27 and a third innings, he's only given up 14 hits. That equates to a 151 average, and he also averages more than a strikeout per inning. So he's going to go out there tonight, the Rays, just like in that Game 4, hoping that he can give them 2 innings. You can get in a pinch hitter, and all of a sudden you're going to go to the bullpen and try to patch it together and hopefully lead yourself to a Rays win.
Geltz found out on the plane ride up here after last night's game that he would be starting, and we anticipate Andres will follow him to the hill. Beyond that, we'll wait and see. The Rays starting a 5-game road trip. 2 games here in Washington. There's a look at Jordan Zimmerman. Then the Rays will go to Cleveland before they return home. They start play tonight in first place in the American League East, up by 1 game.
A kiss from Paula Abdul has Steve Geltz on a roll. He has only thrown a couple of tosses. He has not yet thrown a pitch off the mound, trying to treat this just like a relief appearance as the Rays take on the Nationals here in Nationals Park. Geltz was perfect in his 4 outings in that homestand where he got a kiss from Paula Abdul last Thursday. 4 innings, no hits, no runs scored. But today he gets the start as the Rays play a little strategy here at NL Park. Geltz talks about both getting the start and that good luck kiss.
You know, they told me last night on the plane, it's just kind of one of those things that factors come into play, and if there's a situation where, you know, early in the game they can score some runs, we can pinch hit for me. And, you know, it's just one of those things that I'm happy to do whatever they ask. You know, that was my moment. That was fun. It was, you know, it's just hard work, just going out there trying to be aggressive. You know, Paula made that day a little special for me, though.
There is Steve Geltz in the bullpen, starting to throw off the mound for the first time, as most starters take about 15-20 minutes earlier to get warm. Again, a reliever getting a spot start today. Hey, they're the boys, high above the field at National Park. You could ask the announcers today on Web Wednesday whatever you like by tweeting your questions to @SunSportsRays with the hashtag AskRays, or emailing them to sunsportsrays@gmail.com. We are ready for baseball on a Wednesday night. Upstairs we go to Dwayne and BA.
All right, Todd, thank you very much. The Rays and the Washington Nationals ready to square off. Let's take a look at the starting lineup presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Kevin Kiermaier is going to be up there atop the lineup in center field, followed by Jake Elmore and then Evan Longoria. David DeJesus hits cleanup in front of Logan Forsythe, and then Steven Souza Jr. as Drupal Cabrera hits 7th. Kurt Casale is going to do the catching, batting 8th, and Steve Geltz, pitcher in the lineup in the 9th spot.
Well, taking the mound tonight for the Washington Nationals is going to be right-hander Jordan Zimmerman, making his 14th start of the season. The season numbers are right there, and he is looking to right the ship. His last 2 starts have covered a combined 8 1/3 innings, and he's given up 10 earned runs.
Well, the Rays won the first game of this interleague series 6-1. Washington won last night 16-4. The action switches to Washington for games 3 and 4. And here's Kiermaier going after the first pitch. And a foul ball straight back. Boy, on that first pitch of the game, Escobar, who was at third base, was way in. Dropped back a little bit down, still close, but he was about a third of the way in from third base, trying to protect against a potential bunt.
You always have to be concerned with the speed of Kevin Kiermaier, whether it's out of the batter's box or on the base paths.
Rays facing Jordan Zimmerman. 1-2 the count on Kiermaier. Tapper foul. Washington got a look at Kiermaier when he hit down in the lineup against the left-hander Gio Gonzalez at the Trop on Monday. Hustled his way into a double his first time up. Later in the game doubled and picked up 2 runs scored. Strike called on the outside corner. Kiermaier caught looking by Zimmerman. Pitch just catching the edge.
Now let's take a quick look at the Nationals defense as it lines up here tonight. Brought to you by BMW. In the outfield left to right, we have Clint Robinson, Michael Taylor, and Bryce Harper. Across the infield third to first, Yunel Escobar, Ian Desmond, Anthony Rendon, and Danny Espinosa, with Jose Lobaton behind the dish.
Jake Elmore up in the 2nd spot. Takes ball 1. Well, we've seen Elmore do it all this year, including pitch an inning in the game last night. He pitched the 8th, and Nick Franklin pitched the 9th inning. Ball 2 strikes.
Tell you what, easy gas coming here tonight for Jordan Zimmermann. That fastball sitting there at 94, 95 miles an hour. A very determined pitcher for the reasons we talked about before. Struggled his last couple of outings.
Zimmermann, a 14-game winner last year, and the way the pitching situation has stacked up here recently, they are relying on him to be the solid starter in that rotation. And he strikes out Jake Elmore.
Well, you go back over his last 2 outings. The previous 9 of 4-1, an ERA of 2.09. That was even skewed a little bit by the second start of the season. He gave up 7 earned runs in 2 1/3 against the Red Sox. But the last 2, that's the trouble spot. And if you're a pitcher like Jordan Zimmermann, used to success, you do not want to let that bleed into a third start.
First pitch to Evan Longoria is a strike in this Rays lineup. Very few at bats against him, and what bats they've had, no hits. Longoria is 0 for 2 in his career against him. DeJesus, who's next, is 0 for 6, and Forsythe behind him is 0 for 3, and that's the extent of the experience against Zimmermann. A comebacker to the hill. So Longoria is thrown out with a toss to Espinosa. 1-2-3, go the Rays. Doesn't make much difference to Steve Geltz whether he's starting or working in relief. He's jogging in from the bullpen in either case, and so he'll do that and start this game tonight. This is the lineup he'll be facing, presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Yanel Escobar at third leading off, followed by Anthony Rendon, and then Bryce Harper in right hitting third. In the cleanup spot, Clint Robinson. Danny Espinosa hits fifth. Ian Desmond, the shortstop, sixth. In front of Jose Lobaton, the former Ray. Michael Taylor's in center, and Jordan Zimmermann, the pitcher, hits ninth.
Well, we talked about Steve Geltz in the open, and it's been a nice season for him. The 27 1/3 innings, and that opponent average of just 151 equals 14 hits against him. You combine that with the fact, the big strikeout numbers, and he's been good lately. Last couple of times out, the fastball jumping out of his hand, tends to get a lot of swings and misses with that pitch, and the Rays will look for him to give him 2 strong innings here tonight.
He'll face Escobar, who starts the night 6th in the National League in hitting at .322 and playing third base. He goes after the first pitch, pops it up. That's going to carry foul.
Well, listen, the Washington Nationals had so much success last night swinging the bat. Why waste any time?
The Nationals scoring 16 runs on 23 hits off Rays pitching last night. It's the second most allowed in club history, and the most the Rays have ever allowed at Tropicana Field. They gave up 25 hits back in July of '07 in New York. 23 hits last night. Kevin Cash says it's just one of those nights.
Well,
2-1.
And the side note to that is when you saw the demeanor of the team, nobody was taking that too hard. Obviously, some of the guys weren't real happy how it went, but for the most part, everybody remained upbeat, understood that they're going to get to play a game the next day. Here we are.
Now 3 balls and a strike. Well, there's not much percentage in letting that carry over. It's 1 game, 1 loss. And the Rays come in here in first place in the American League East. It's fouled into the stands, right side. The count is full. Up by a game on the Yankees. Baltimore and Toronto each 2 back. Boston 8 off the pace. Fly ball right field. Souza Jr. is going to have to go back for it. He's there and makes the catch.
Let's take a look at the Rays defense and see how it's going to line up tonight. Brought to you by BMW. In the outfield, left to right, we have DeJesus, Kiermaier, and Souza Jr. Across the infield, third to first, Longoria, Cabrera, Forsythe, and Elmore, with Kirk Casale behind the plate.
This is Anthony Rendon stepping in. We saw him play second base in the first game of the 2-game set at the Trop, and then move over to play third. He's back at second base tonight. Young infielder out of Rice University. 1-0 pitch, skied to center. Kiermaier coming in is there, 2 gone. So 2 up and 2 down. And Bryce Harper, the young outfielder who connected last night for his 22nd home run of the year. That came in the 4-run 5th inning.
Well, how about this? We are in the middle of June, and with that home run, Bryce Harper has already tied his career high with 22.
Tonight's GMC big matchup involving Harper. He takes the first pitch inside. 1 ball, no strikes. Slugging percentage of .735.
That's a pretty hefty lead there over Paul Goldschmidt.
Now 1-1. Well, he's tops in the majors in slugging percentage, therefore tops in the National League. And his on base percentage, I'll tell you, he's pushing things there as well. That's up to .481.
It's so rare that you find that combination of the average on base with the power and production. Usually it's one and not the other. Bryce Harper here this year, in a breakout season for him, has combined the two.
He leads the National League in walks with 54. Is caught looking. Strike 3 called. Geltz sets him down. 1-2-3 go the Nationals. On to the second inning. No score. Sports is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. By Checkers. Get Checkers authentic Philly cheesesteak or try the new meatball sub. Pick yours 2 for $5. And by Morgan Auto Group. Make it Morgan. We make it happen. From the nation's capital, we move into the second inning. David DeJesus ready to lead off against Jordan Zimmerman. David starts the night hitting .295. He'll be followed by Logan Forsythe and Steven Souza Jr. The fastball in for strike one. So Zimmerman, an aggressive tone set here. Back in with another strike fastball, and he's ahead 0-2. This is not unusual for him.
No, and that's why I really felt like and still feel like the Rays offense will match him in that. He's a very aggressive pitcher. He's had 49 at-bats that have ended in an 0-0 count. So teams have gone out there and attacked him because he's out there going right after them. He's got good stuff, quality stuff, and he throws a lot of strikes.
Well, hitters realize that. If he's throwing strikes early, they don't want to get behind.
No, because he's got the stuff to put you away, too, like that.
And strike 3 is called. 3 strikeouts in the first 4 hitters.
Yeah, and we've seen on a couple of different pitches, we've seen a very good explosive fastball from Zimmerman. Right here, we're going to see the curveball that he gets David DeJesus looking. We saw the slider put away, let's see, who was that? Jake Elmore in the first inning. So he's got all 3 of his main weapons working early here tonight.
Now here's Logan Forsythe. And there's a strike. And he has Paul Schreiber behind the plate tonight, an umpire who traditionally does not have one of the bigger strike zones. Fly ball into right for Harper. 2 gone. In tonight's game, we're again participating in the Home Run Challenge. Every Rays home run raises $12,500 for prostate cancer research. You can make a pledge by going online to homerunchallenge.org. Well, here's a good matchup, and the Washington fans acknowledging Steven Souza Jr. before he steps in as he faces Jordan Zimmerman, the man for whom he preserved a no-hitter. And the pitch is inside. 1 ball and no strikes.
So he greets him with 95 in off the plate. Thanks
so much. That was last year.
That's right.
Ground ball and a base hit by Escobar. So Souza is aboard with the first hit of this game. We'll take a look at the heroics performed by Steven Souza Jr. as Jordan Zimmerman finished off the no-hitter against the Marlins thanks to Steven Souza Jr.'s catch in left.
2 things that stand out. Number 1, the reaction by Zimmerman with the ball off the bat. And then, of course, the play by Souza Jr. beyond extraordinary. I mean, that was a tough, diving, sprawling catch to preserve that no-hitter.
Here's Asdrubal Cabrera. And it's fouled back. And you were talking about this before the game, being a starting pitcher. You want to get to 200 innings pitched? Well, Zimmerman didn't quite make it.
He did not. He finished the season with 199 2/3 innings. And we were talking, not even realizing that that was his last start of the year. Like, listen, if I didn't go a complete game the last start of the year, I got a bone to pick with my manager. And certainly his last start of the year was a complete
he didn't
game.
get to 200 innings pitched, so the consolation prize is a no-hitter.
I think I probably would. But that's a tough number to get to He had thrown over 213 innings the year before. He won 19 games 2 years ago. 14 wins last year, but a lower ERA, 2.66.
Yeah, 32 starts. I mean, you make all those starts, and you're, if not the guy in the rotation, certainly one of the top two. Two strikes on Cabrera. Rays 6 games over 500. First in the East. Fly ball lifted into center for Taylor. He's there and makes the catch. No runs, 1 hit, 1 left. 2 an inning and a half, no score.
As a starter today on our Wednesday Ask the Announcer segment, a few questions about why Geltz is starting. We can get to that a little later on. But guys, it is also a big topic about the All-Star voting. A lot of fans say they miss the old ballots that you punch and watch the games, and they did set up a couple of iPads over at Gate 3 at Tropicana Field the last couple of days to get more votes for the Rays. But as you look at the current voting, you'll see that it's all Royals, with the exception of Mike Trout. That would be the starting lineup right now for the AL. So the fans want to know, do you guys think there needs to be changes made to the All-Star voting?
Yeah, it's like 1957 all over again when the Cincinnati fans did the same thing, and the commissioner had to step in and get Willie Mays and Hank Aaron on the All-Star team. Same kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that just can't happen.
No. I mean, at last check, Omar Infante not having a very good season, hitting barely above 200, not many extra base hits, and leading at second base. And the way that you saw that graphic right there, that cannot happen. I understand that it's, as far as we know, everything is on the up and up. It's just a lot of Kansas City Royal fans taking to heart what you tell them, Dwayne, voting 35 times each and every day. But, that just it cannot happen in a game that all of a sudden, and I'm using air quotes here, means something.
Yeah.
Home field advantage in the World Series.
Yeah. So something has to be done there. And first out here, Robinson in the shift bounces one to Longoria on the first base side of second. So that's a 5-3. And it brings Danny Espinosa up. And we've touched on that a couple times earlier. I just think it's ironic that this year's All-Star game would be in Cincinnati when what happened in '57 was a major part of taking the voting for the All-Star game out of the hands of the fans. There's DeJesus and left handling that fly ball. Exactly for those reasons. And then it really was played for pride, more of an exhibition than anything. And now, as you point out, trying to make it more relevant to the regular season and eventually the postseason, who's going to gain the home field advantage. So I would think that invoking that best interest of baseball clause, the commissioner might have a remedy in mind. 1-0 the count to Desmond. It's great to see Kansas City loyal to their team. They're proud of them. It was a great story, the development of that team. They hadn't won in such a long time. It's a great baseball city, just a great area in general out there, but this is a little over the top.
I'll raise you the little and say it's way over the top. A lot over the top.
Duo pitch popped up by Desmond, right side. Here comes Souza Jr. and he makes the catch. Well, Souza Jr., who made that great catch last year to preserve the no-hitter, that was in left. This one now in foul territory in right, and boy, what a catch that was. Put a couple stars by that one for Souza Jr. And 1-2-3 go the Nationals. Grab on the pop foul down the right field line by Desmond.
And you can see following the whole way, that ball in the glove, reaching. It's not easy. You know, there's a lot to maneuver around down there, the low wall. And Steve Geltz, believe it.
So Geltz making the start. He has his 2 innings in. And Kurt Casale is going to lead it off for the Rays here in the third. Brandon Guyer's on deck, and a base hit shot up the middle. Well, interesting situation as Guyer strolls toward the plate. Now he took a look back over his shoulder, but they're going to let him hit. Kind of interesting. You know, there's always the question, would they go beyond 2 innings with Geltz? And I guess there's a scenario that would have allowed that. And you sort of thought, well, you know, something like this might have been that time. So Casale's at first, and now here's Guyer. Ground ball. Rendon to Diamond one, Desmond one, and back to first base to Espinosa for two. Rendon, Desmond to Espinosa. So a base hit for Casale. That was a little confusing to see him with the helmet on, wasn't it?
I think he's messing around is what I think he's doing, because obviously Brandon Guyer there in the batter's box is going to hit for him. I think he just wanted to say, hey, listen, I put on the elbow guard, I put the helmet on, I pretended like I was going to hit, even though at that point there was no chance of it.
He was walking around the clubhouse carrying a bat.
That's just Geltzy being Geltzy, Dwayne.
1-0 the count to Kiermaier. Fouls it back. Well, two pitches in. The first pitch a base hit, and then the next pitch a double play ball.
Well, so make it now 51 at bats. That's what teams have done.
Two and one.
And the Rays, by the way, did get their two solid innings out of Steve Geltz.
Yep, two perfect innings. 2-2 now to Kiermaier with a strikeout.
I think the tougher thing for this team tonight is going to figure out how to get to Jordan Zimmerman, because right now he looks very good.
Up the left side, foul. Hopping into and out of, and a grab by the fans down there back a third. So they grabbed a souvenir. Rays beginning their 5-game road trip here in Nationals Park, with 2 here and then on to Cleveland for 3. That takes care of Kiermaier, out on strikes for the second time. No score through 2.5. Of the third in Washington, D.C. tonight. Our lows never stop improving, and that's the storyline on this year for Steve Geltz. Although it'd be difficult to improve upon a couple perfect innings tonight.
Well, Steve Geltz has been doing that all season, whether it's at the beginning of the game like here and earlier in the season, the 4th game of the season, or, you know, saving a couple of games. He's 2 for 2 in saves. He's pitched in just about every situation that you can imagine during the course of this year already. and he just went out there tonight. I love the fact that he treated it like a, coming out of the bullpen, jogged in when it was his half inning to take the mound, and he put up that line right there. Pretty outstanding.
Yeah, it's great, his approach to this. He's happy, as he said, to do whatever they ask him to do, and he's done it well in a number of roles.
And you know what you really love about it is how many times do you hear guys in the bullpen, hey, I need a role. I need to know what I'm going to do. I need my 7th inning guy, 8th inning guy, the setup guy. I need to be defined. Steve Geltz is like, I'm happy to put the uniform on. You pitch me in the 1st, the 6th, the 9th, the 15th, whenever you feel like it. You call my name, I'm going to show up and do a job.
Yeah, I'll start a couple games, get a couple saves, get a win. Well, Matt Andriese is in there now facing Jose Lobaton. 1-0 pitch. He skies to center field. Kiermaier to the track, and he makes the catch. Kiermaier a couple steps from the wall out there, and he was preparing to get into launch mode if he needed to.
Aborted it right at the end. You can see him counting those steps again, tapping those feet. This ball gets a little bit of carry to it. Big part of the field, though. He did think about it.
So that's one away. Now Michael Taylor, young man out of Fort Lauderdale. 1 ball, no strikes. Two and nothing. Taylor with 5 home runs. He had 2 hits, a run batted in, and 2 runs scored in the game last night at the Trop. He was on twice in the game there on Monday night. The Nationals think a lot of him as an outfielder and a hitter. He can run, and he has some pop in that bat. Started in their system as a shortstop, but about a year in after being drafted, they moved him to the outfield, and they really project him as an everyday center fielder. They think he will be a very good player.
Well, you love when you can take a very good athlete and combine that with tools, and that's what Michael Taylor has.
Strike 3 call. Caught looking at a fastball right there for the 2nd out.
And that little bit of hesitation before the call. That's a borderline fastball by Matt Andriese, but he does a great job at driving this thing downhill. And it was right on the borderline.
Now the pitcher Jordan Zimmerman bounces it to short. Cabrera with the pickup and the throw, and 1-2-3 go the Nationals, and we'll go into the 4th scoreless. Rays baseball on Sun Sports is brought to you by your Tampa Bay area Mazda dealers. By Grow Financial, don't go through life, grow through life. And by the Florida Department of Transportation, reminding you to drive sober or get pulled over. The Jefferson Monument, just behind the Washington Monument there. The Rays making a 2-day stop in the nation's capital, and tonight facing Jordan Zimmerman. Jake Elmore, who's hitting second in the lineup for Kevin Cash, is going to lead it off. Elmore, Longoria, and Jesus. Well, the Toyota trend as we go to the interleague matchups, the lowest ERA in home games with a minimum of 10 starts in interleague action, and Jordan Zimmerman at the top of that list with the best ERA. Did you see Eric Bedard was 5th on that list?
I'm just happy that we're back to random interleague stats. We haven't had those in quite a while.
You know, some people love interleague, some people don't. You can talk about that forever. But it is a challenge to sometimes make these numbers that are compiled relevant. Now, they can be relevant in terms of evaluating a performance, but just to set aside interleague numbers in and of itself, I find it hard to make it relevant. There's a sinking liner into right. Harper scooped it. Elmore is aboard with a base hit.
All that's saying is that starting pitchers that very rarely see another team, and they're pitching at home at least 10 times, they did a pretty good job.
Well, here's the interleague numbers on Evan Longoria. 236. Okay.
18-72.
Yeah,
that's fantastic. Good for you.
Here's Zimmerman set to pitch to the Rays' third baseman, and he fouls it back. That's a strike. Now, if you can break it down against a certain type of pitcher and what Zimmerman tries to do, okay, you could get some relevance. But just on his face, here are his interleague numbers. It's beyond me. Into right field, this one a little higher, and Harper makes the catch with a peek toward first, but no chance on Elmore. One gone. You know, this ballpark, you look at some of the numbers here. Number one, it's a beautiful ballpark situated in the southeast quadrant of Washington, D.C., and a lot of development around this ballpark since the last time we've been here. It's a beautiful ballpark. It has been a difficult ballpark for hitters, especially to hit home runs. This really skews against the home run more than most ballparks now.
And you really, by looking at the dimensions and understanding what the weather is like here, you wonder why.
Yeah.
You wonder why. You know, 336 down the left field line, 377 out in left center. Right center looks to be a little bit shorter, wall's a little bit higher, but it's not ginormous. 402 out in center.
Yeah, they say it's 370 in right center where the scoreboard is, and you're right, it's a bit higher out there, and then 335 down the right field line. So not imposing numbers and distances in and of themselves. Runner goes. The pitch sky toward left center. Robinson out there. He'll make the catch. And Elmore heads back to first. But this, when you look at last year and over the last few years, this has not been, for not only the Nationals, but for the teams that come in here, this has not been an easy place to hit home runs. Now Logan Forsythe. Of course, the Trop hasn't been an easy place to hit home runs either, and the Nationals hit 4 last night, and the Rays hit 1. And all that was going on.
Maybe part of it, not maybe, part of it probably has to do with pitching staffs. I mean, look, last year, the Washington National pitching staff led just about every meaningful category, not only in the National League, but Major League Baseball, including not giving up home runs.
And to first, the ball loose on the throw down there, but Elmore back in and stays there.
I mean, they're only half the equation, but it's the same thing with the Rays pitching staff at Tropicana Field. Not only do you have a field that really isn't particularly kind to hitters, but then you're rolling out a pitching staff that is taking them out half the time there that's dominant.
That's going to be a strike on the outside corner, and it's 1-2. Paul Schreiber, the plate umpire, has been a major league umpire, been a member of their staff since June of '97. 1-2 now. And a cut to miss, and Forsythe is out on strikes. So the Rays get a leadoff single and leave the man aboard. No score. And the lead there, and comes away a winner. And that was not always the case here.
Oh, he had, how long was it? The drought.
Send a tweet during tonight's game to Sun Sports Rays, including the hashtag TuneInRays, and be entered for a chance to win autographed team gear and more. Stay tuned for the Rays live post-game show to find out if you're tonight's lucky winner. Top of the order, Yunel Escobar to open the bottom of the 4th. It's a ground ball to short. Cabrera comes up with that. 1 out in the 4th inning. Time to check in again with Todd. What have you got for us?
Dwayne Moore, Web Wednesday asks the announcer questions. You can tweet using Ask Rays as your hashtag or email at sunsportsrays@gmail.com. Brian L. and Rick S. want to know about John Jaso. Head athletic trainer Ron Porterfield very excited to say that Jaso is hitting in the cage tomorrow with one of the groups. On the field, which is a big step for him, that wrist had taken a while to make any progress, but now Porterfield's excited about the progress it's making for Jaso. Then we have Kenny L, who says he's been watching a lot of hockey. He hasn't seen you guys lately. And he said, BA, what's going on with the face? Looks like a small animal is residing on your face. That's his words, not mine. And Candy P wants to know about Alex Colomé, BA. She said yesterday you mentioned he had good control, not good command. What do you mean by that, guys?
All right, 1-1. Well, the first part of that on Jaso, The Rays can't get him healthy and back in the lineup quickly enough, because as we know, there have been some offensive challenges. Well, that pitch just missed, 2-1. So that is a great step, and you certainly want to see him back as soon as possible. Now to the question. I don't know where you want to start.
The small animal on my face. I like it. I mean, I like when the fans mix it up with us, you know. I mean, I'd like to call it a beard and stay away from small animal, but however, it's, you know, your choice. Your choice. I don't know. I've never grown a beard before. And I decided this winter, it was pretty cold, to throw one on, and it's just kind of taken on a life of its own.
Yeah,
and now I can't get rid of it.
Yeah,
because I'll have the tan lines.
Yeah.
I look really goofy. I think I'd rather have this small animal pinched to my jaw.
And the control?
Well, yeah, what we mean by that is, you know, control is the ability to throw a strike. Command is the ability to be able to locate your pitch and put it in the spot you want it, not even necessarily in the strike zone. You know, let's say you get ahead of a guy 0-2 and you want to get him to chase a slider down and off the plate. Just because you throw it down off the plate, if he takes it and it's a ball, that doesn't mean your command wasn't good. Command just means putting the ball where you want it. And Alex Colomé this year has shown better control. He has cut down his walks, did have 3 last night, but he has cut down his walks overall, so the control has been good, but the command, putting the pitches where he wants them, has not been as good, and that's why he's had an up and down season here so far.
Anthony Rendon out on a fly ball to right for the second out. And on the comment toward that first question regarding John Jaso about hockey, and now he's looking in, and we certainly welcome that, and we'll take this opportunity to say that we were both genuinely excited and rooting for the Lightning, and so proud and pleased of the year they had. And they had such a great year to advance all the way down the line. It was certainly a great hockey season for them, and they have nothing to hang their heads about, because that was a great effort, and boy, they made everybody in Tampa Bay proud. We just want to congratulate the Tampa Bay Lightning on such a spectacular year.
Exciting team to watch. Young, fast, lines that could skate, that could move. I mean, it was, you know, listen, you get into the NBA Finals that was just wrapped up, not so good on my end, and the hockey that didn't turn out as well as we would have liked. That's such a grind. When you get into you're in the playoffs for 2 months, laying it all on the line every time, you know, these guys would take the ice, and it was absolutely, like you said, a fun ride.
1-1 to count on Harper. Takes the pitch inside. 2-1. Matt Andriese out there on the hill. Steve Geltz pitched 2 perfect innings. Andriese had a 1-2-3 third. He's retired the first 2 men in the 4th inning. That's a strike, and so the count is square. It's 2-2. This one shot toward left center, and that's going to fall. DeJesus makes the pickup. So Harper's the first base runner given up by Rays pitching tonight. 2 outs into the 4th.
Well, and he's a strong man, and that's the only way that you're able to push that ball out into left center field. This ball up and in off the label. Didn't hit it well, but he just dropped it in the spot, you know. And when you go back and you think about Jordan Zimmerman throwing a no-hitter, or a perfect game we saw from Felix Hernandez a couple of years ago, it's just even hits like that fall in. I mean, everything has to go right to go 2.5, 3 hours, 9 innings, and not give up at least one of those. Pretty amazing.
But Robinson takes the pitch for a strike. Rays again have the shift on for him, with Longoria on the first base side of second. Matt Andriese pitched Friday against the White Sox and picked up his first major league win. Pitched 5 2/3 innings in that game, made 85 pitches. It's another one of the reasons Geltz started tonight instead of Andriese. Andriese stretched out, so they can get a couple of innings out of Geltz, who was very good again tonight. Pinch hit for him, and then you go to Andriese and hope that you can get something along the line of what he gave the Rays the last time when he pitched against Chicago. Keeping an eye on Harper. Go down to first. Elmore with that backhanded scoop makes an unassisted play. We're going to go into the 5th inning. We have no score, and Steven Souza Jr. will lead it off. Here at Nationals Park for tonight's race flashback presented by Geico. We take you back to June of 2012, June 19th, when the Rays were here, and reliever Joel Peralta ejected for using pine tar. A charge levied by his former team, the Washington Nationals, and he was eventually suspended 8 games for that incident.
I like the little tug of the cap as he looks into the Nationals dugout. Like, thanks, guys. Thanks.
Yeah, I wasn't doing that with you, right?
And his wasn't even obvious. You know, some of these cases now that have been brought out, the guys are slobbing it on their wrist, on the side of their neck. I mean, you got to be a little bit more discreet than that. Yeah. Peralta was discreet. He just got ratted out.
Yeah, no style points for the guys recently.
No, I mean, it is funny. It's just so widely, you know, throughout the league. Everybody knows that a lot of different pitchers do that, and so you get guys that are like, listen, if everybody's doing it, I'm not even going to try to hide it. Well, I want to rethink that.
1-1 pitch, and that one is drilled high, deep into left center field. Gone over the bullpen and back into the pen. It drops. Home run for Steven Souza Jr. Well, his 13th home run of the year. And for Souza Jr. and his relationship with Jordan Zimmerman, he giveth and he taketh away. He saved the no-hitter for him last year, and he hits one out to give the Rays the lead here in Washington tonight this year.
Well, if you could see that ball coming off the hand of Jordan Zimmerman, meant to be a slider, and it was a cement mixer. Just spun, stayed flat, stayed up, and Steven Souza Jr. did with that pitch exactly what he was supposed to.
13 home runs now for Steven Souza Jr. And the Rays, with their 4th hit of the night, have a 1-0 lead. That's a strike to Cabrera. And so the count is now 1-1. Foul ball. Take another look at that pitch from Zimmerman.
Now look at the fingers on the side and look at it just spinning. That's what you call a cement mixer. Really no movement, no depth, no nothing. And that becomes easy pickings for a big league hitter. And a big league hitter with power will put his team on the board.
And that's a pitch that disappeared on Cabrera. He's out on strikes for the first out. 6 strikeouts in this game for Zimmerman. The ball to Kurt Casale, 1-0. You know, Souza, remember on that road trip, he had a pretty good road trip in terms of power when the Rays started in Baltimore and then went to the West Coast. He had 4 home runs on that road trip and then hit 1 against the Angels when the Rays got back home, and now back out on the road. Another home run for Souza. Well, we've seen the unusual power out of Steven Souza Jr. this year. He has hit some balls a long way and hit that one over the bullpen. Rays bullpen's out there in left center field.
He's got that different sound. That ball off the bat has that distinct crack that you don't hear very often. When he catches one flush, they become no doubters.
There's a shot off the bat of Casale, and that one's going to get out of here. Back-to-back home runs. Kurt Casale has belted one, and the Rays take a 2-0 lead. 2 home runs separated by the strikeout of Cabrera, but it's a 2-home run inning for the Rays, and they lead 2-0.
Well, talking about no doubters, how about one from Kurt Casale? The interesting thing about this pitch out over the plate, kind of working its way back into the swing of Kurt Casale, is Jordan Zimmerman came into this start having given up just 3 home runs on the season in 77 innings, and here the Rays get him 2 times in a matter of 3 hitters.
Well, Matt Andriese, he takes a strike, so Kurt Casale hits his first home run, his first in the big leagues. And that comes 1 out after Souza had opened the inning with a home run. One ball, 2 strikes. Hot shot to first, grabbed by Espinoza. And Andriese is out, first base unassisted. Casale, as you know, was up with the Rays last year for 30 games. Did not hit a home run, but there was no doubt when he contacted that pitch from Zimmerman. .103.6 off the bat of Kurt Casale.
Well, and to put that into perspective, Clint Robinson, that ball that he hit out at Tropicana Field, that we lost. I mean, did it hit the ring? Did it hit the back wall? Kind of lost it. That was an absolute bomb. That was 103.9. So, a little trajectory with that kind of speed. Big home run.
There's a pitch inside. It's 2-1. There's a strike, and so the count is 2-2. Two outs with 2 runs home on 2 solo home runs in the inning. The pitch is up. Zimmerman had given up only 1 home run to right-handed hitters all year. And then on a 1-1 pitch to Souza, he hit it out. He got Cabrera on 4 pitches and then went 3-1 to Casale, and he hit it out. Now a strikeout. Kiermaier. Slider gets him, and the Rays are finished in the top half of the 5th, but they hit 2 home runs. Solo blast by Steven Souza Jr. and Kurt Casale, and the Rays lead 2-0. Ladies, round up the girls and head to the ballpark for Girls Night Out. That'll be Friday, June 26th, when the Rays take on the Red Sox. All women receive a Rays cowboy hat presented by Outback Steakhouse while supplies last. That's Girls Night Out. It gets even better as the night goes on with drink specials and fun entertainment. For tickets, call 888-FAN-RAYS or visit RaysBaseball.com. Sounds fun.
Wow. Get the girls together, come out. The night gets better as it goes along with the cowboy hat. Rowdy. Good times. Had by all.
Red Sox in town for that series. Danny Espinosa fouls a pitch out of play, and the count is 1-1. And make plans, because that'll be here before you know it. The Rays have just 2 games here against Washington, and then 3 against Cleveland. And the Blue Jays, the Red Sox, and the Indians are coming in to Tropicana Field. And that's that Boston series for Girls Night Out. Liner into left center field, closing. DeJesus got it. DeJesus made the catch, and crisscrossing behind him was Kiermaier, who laid out with a dive and picks himself up in left center field. He's all over the place.
He wanted to jump on the fly ball to deep center field earlier, and here he just dives as David DeJesus takes this one away from him. This ball well struck, but the Rays outfielder is doing a nice job of tracking it down. And there he goes.
And the reaction of DeJesus was great. Like there's an unidentified flying object just behind me. Backhanded stop up the middle by Forsythe, but he can't make the throw, and Desmond has a base hit. I mean, you can see the reaction of DeJesus as he's catching this line drive, and he says, something just flew by me. Well, it's fun to watch Kiermaier wherever he is. You just hope he doesn't hurt himself. He did get up smiling, and that's always a good sign.
Well, he plays the game at such a breakneck speed. Always diving, giving himself up. A little hop here and there.
Brandon Gomes up in the Rays bullpen. It's going to be one of those bullpen nights with Geltz working two. Now Matt Andrews having worked the third and the fourth, and now two hitters into the fifth. He'll deal with Jose Lobaton. Andrews facing Lobaton for the second time. Pitch is high. Lobaton drove the ball to center field in the third when Kiermaier went back to the warning track to corral it. One on with one out. So Andrews starting his second time through the lineup. A little tapper foul. It's 1-1. One on, one out. Foul right back into the screen. Jose Lobaton, the former Rays catcher, has been backing up Wilson Ramos here. First, we mentioned the Rays making this more or less a bullpen evening. They've added Ronald Belisario to the bullpen. He had been pitching and closing at Durham, and so he's out there now. He's a hard throwing fastball slider guy for the most part. 2-2. Michael Taylor is on deck. Quick move back in, standing up Desmond. Rays have 2 runs, 5 hits in the game. The Nationals, no runs, 2 hits.
I tell you, these are the games where, you know, Kevin Cash is going to earn his money, because not only are you playing in a National League park, which presents its own set of issues and stuff that you got to deal with, but then you've got the situation with Steve Geltz starting, and now Matt Andriese is in there. You've taken a 2-run lead. How quickly and who can bridge to the back end of the bullpen? And they're trying to piece it all together here on the fly.
Runner goes. The pitch hit on the ground to the right side. Elmore makes the play unassisted as Desmond moves up to second base. He'll be there with 2 outs, and we'll remind you to come out to Family Fun Day Sunday, June 28th, as kids play a post-game concert. All kids 14 and under receive a Rays Retro 10 lunchbox while supplies last. For more information, visit RaysBaseball.com/concerts. You're so right about that breakdown, BA, because now it becomes not only inning to inning, but parts of innings as they try to get this game through the 6th, and then try to work their magic with the back end of the bullpen.
And you get the feeling that when the Rays are able to win games like this, there's a little bit of extra satisfaction knowing what you had to do in order to get it done.
Well, they've been creative. There's no question about that. Pitch is down 2-0. People, you know, we see clubs and people who follow clubs and other coaches and managers and people who cover the game in general. You run into them every once in a while, and if they haven't seen the Rays, they ask you, how's this team winning?
Well, they look at the injury list.
Yep.
And everything that goes with it, and the roster.
Well, I don't know how many who are watching read Stu Sternberg's quotes or heard him. And he said, we're going to have an intentional walk down to Taylor. But he said, what this club has done under the circumstances this year, in his mind, has been more exciting than the 08 team. And there are elements of that are absolutely right. With all of the injuries on this team, when you look at right now 43 players and 25 pitchers, and I think it's 16 rookies on this club, and they're a game in first place in the East. That's staggering. Well, the pitcher Jordan Zimmerman up here, 1-0 the count to him. Taylor's at first, Desmond at second with 2 outs. There's a strike. We talked a few moments ago about what a great year the Lightning had, and they did. And I mean, exciting for the community and exciting for the Lightning franchise. Well, what the Rays did through that period from 08 forward and what they've done this year equally is amazing. There's a little tap left side, a little trouble, but Longoria comes in to field it, trying to avoid Desmond. And so Zimmerman grounds out, and the Nationals will lead 2. It opened with that catch and left by DeJesus with that flying object behind him. Tomorrow, the greatest golfers in the world converge on the Pacific Northwest as our coverage of the 115th U.S. Open Championship live from Chambers Bay Golf Course begins at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on Fox Sports 1 and continues in prime time at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on your local Fox station. And it's all streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Well, the Rays intentionally walked Taylor to get to Jordan Zimmerman, and they got the Washington pitcher on the tap to the left side to leave two national base runners. So we'll go to the sixth, and it will be Jake Elmore, the number 2 hitter in the lineup. First pitch, and that's a tap out to Desmond at shortstop, who makes the play on the move to get Elmore. So 1 out.
Well, Ian Desmond, we've seen here just in the first 2.5 games of this series. He's got a very strong arm, a little uneven this year out in the field. You know, he had 8 errors through the season's first 15 games. I think he's sitting at like 14 errors right now. But he can make those types of plays because he's got such a strong arm.
First pitch to Longoria is a ball. Well, they have on that free agent list, Desmond's one of them. Bernard Span is another one. That's a strike, and it's 1-1.
Just the positions that both of them play.
Yep. Leadoff hitter, center fielder, shortstop. And a couple pitchers, including Zimmerman, who's pitching tonight.
And with so much money wrapped up into Max Scherzer, you talk about a max contract.
Yep.
What he was able to get. Just wonder, this Nationals team, who they're going to be able to hold on to and who's going to walk. And that's why this team is built to win now. There's a lot of pressure on this team to win now. And so far, have not quite been able to get it going like they would have hoped.
This one headed toward the middle and just off the glove of Desmond. Longoria has a base hit. For the Rays, their 6th hit. It's a 1-out single. Well, Baltimore has a lead on the Phillies again. It's 6-1 in the bottom of the 5th at Philly. The Marlins and the Yankees in New York in the middle of the 5th, and the Yankees lead that game 1-0.
By the way, we got a great shot of Danny Espinosa over there talking with Evan Longoria at first base.
Ground ball and a base hit off the bat of DeJesus into right. Longoria is going to go to third. Throw goes through, but not in time. First and third with 1 out.
No, he didn't waste any time. Well, there's another shot of him. Remember that mustache we were talking about with Espinosa? He may have it by the end of the series. David DeJesus wastes no time, able to squeeze it by Espinosa, and the Rays here in business again with 1 out, keeping the pressure on.
Well, not a lot of deep counts with Zimmerman. First and third with 1 away. Here's Logan Forsythe. DeJesus back in there at first base. So the Rays, who scored 2 in the 5th on home runs by Steven Souza Jr. and Kurt Casale, threaten here in the 6th inning. One strike the count. 1-1. Ground ball headed to Desmond. Oh, he bobbles it. Everybody's going to be safe, and the Rays get a run. So Desmond has just committed his 15th error of the year, and the Rays pick up a run. It's going to be an RBI for Forsythe, and an error charged to Desmond, and the Rays lead 3-0.
And a costly error. I mean, this was a routine ground ball, tailor-made double play, and just did not make it. I mean, that play has got to be made, and more than likely, this inning is over, and the Rays are not adding to their lead.
Yeah, that's a double play ball, and the top half of the inning is over. Instead, the Rays have 2 men on with 1 out, a run home, and Steven Souza Jr. at the plate.
Well, these are the things that have been plaguing this team all season. Just cannot get out of their own way and get things rolling in the right direction. The Rays will gladly accept that gift and look to add on.
Pitch inside. Souza 2 for 2, and after saving a no-hitter last year for Zimmerman, he broke a scoreless tie with a leadoff home run in the 5th inning tonight off Zimmerman. That's a strike. 2-1. A 3-run lead for the Rays. There's a ground ball to second. Out at second, and Desmond's throw to first in time. They get the 4-6-3 double play, and the Rays add a run to lead 3-0. Geltz made the start for the Rays, coming in from the bullpen, and he threw 2 perfect innings before giving way to Matt Andriese. Great catch there by Steven Souza Jr. to end the 2nd inning, and then Souza Jr. opened the 5th with a home run off Jordan Zimmerman. 1 out later, Kurt Casale, the Rays catcher, hit his first big league home run. And the Rays picking up an unearned run in the 6th, carry a 3-0 lead into the bottom half of inning 6. Yunel Escobar leads off. The pitch is a strike. And that one foul. Jarred his hand. The count is 2 strikes. Matt Andriese worked a perfect third, gave up a 2-out single in the 4th, left a couple men on in the 5th inning. Ahead of Escobar, 0-2. And he strikes him out. The tag by Casali. So on the cut and the miss, the slider, Escobar, the second strikeout posted by Andriese. Anthony Rendon. First pitch, a strike. Fastball for Andriese. Caught the zone in around 92. This pitch drops low.
Quietly putting together a nice outing. I mean, he had that last start against the White Sox, threw the ball very, very well. His previous appearance with the Rays was a month prior, and that was in relief against the Yankees. He went 4 strong innings. There's just nothing about what Matt Andriese does that wows you, except he puts pitches typically in good spots.
Fly ball toward right center. Kiermaier there. 2 outs. Souza Jr. over there, but he backed off, and Kiermaier made that catch. Hey, update your Facebook. Post a tweet and take a selfie. Saturday, July 11th, and the Rays take on the Houston Astros. Purchase a social media night special ticket package, and for that, pick up a Rays selfie stick. For tickets, visit raysbaseball.com/special events. Now Bryce Harper 1 for 2 in the game, and that's a strike. Started wide and then broke over to catch that corner.
He's thrown a couple of those here tonight. A pitch that a hitter's going to give up on, and if you execute it, you get that strike, and then that's a nasty breaker right there.
0-2. Well, to be able to throw that first pitch the way he did for a strike and get ahead.
Yeah.
What a difference maker that is. 1 ball, 2 strikes. By the mound. Throw to first. Harper's out. And 1, 2, 3. That goes 5-3 on the putout on the shift. rain in the shot right there. In the game tonight and all season long, Tires Plus donates $100 to the Pediatric Cancer Foundation for every Tampa Bay Rays home run televised on Sun Sports. Well, we've had a cloudy day, cloudy evening here, and the forecast calling for some rain later in the night, but it has arrived a bit early. There were some forecasts calling for rain around midnight and expecting it to continue until the early morning hours. She came prepared. And as we go to the 7th, as Drupal Cabrera leads off, and the pitch is a strike. So the Rays and the Nationals playing in the rain right now. Two. It was close. A ball and 2 strikes. The Rays scored 2 in the 5th. 1 unearned run in the 6th inning. Boston and Atlanta in Atlanta, bottom of the 5th, tied 1-1. Blue Jays lead the Mets in Toronto 1-0 in the bottom of the 6th inning of that game. 2-2. Showing no signs of letting up so far this rain. Fly ball the other way, and Robinson in left field a few steps toward the line makes the catch. So with this rainfall and nobody on, 1 out, time to check in with Todd.
Yeah, going to be the wet hair look here in a little while, guys. That's always exciting. Hey, our next question on our Ask the Announcer Web Wednesday. Again, you can tweet your questions using hashtag AskRays or email them at sunsportsrays@gmail.com. KLSC has an interesting one, guys. Who's the Rays MVP so far in 2015?
Yeah, Todd looks like he's under a cliff of a waterfall.
Behind it.
Yeah.
He's at a water park doing a live hit from just beyond where the killer whales are.
Yeah, it's a little early in the evening for the wet hair look, though.
Yeah, I mean, what time is it? 8:45?
Yep.
That's usually 4 or 5 hours from now. And a fresh change of clothes.
Yep. 1-1. Kurt Casale with a 1-1 count.
Did he ask a question?
I think he did. Let's see. Something about an MVP. I mean, that second shot we had of him under the waterfall, you could see a little gleam in his eye. I wasn't quite sure about that. So, see, he's left that area now. We're not sure where he is.
Could be headed for us.
Yeah.
Barricade the door.
Well,
yeah, who would you go with?
Well, here's the thing. The first name that pops into my head is Chris Archer.
Yeah.
People go, well, can a pitcher be an MVP? Well, sure. And, you know, he might be, he just might be the best overall. What he's done and the way he has stepped up, he's given this staff dearly needed innings. And he's just been, at times, completely overwhelming.
This season for the Rays would not work if it wasn't for what Chris Archer has done and even Jake Odorizzi, who's on the disabled list right now.
Yeah.
If those two guys aren't giving the Rays the big innings in their starts, the plan doesn't work.
Yeah.
The bullpen is toast by now.
Well, you know, and this bullpen, there's ball 4 to Casale. This bullpen has pitched more innings than anybody. They're tops in appearances. and they're not overly taxed to this point, but you could see the potential for that. And without those two guys, they would be way overtaxed without question.
It allows Kevin Cash to use, they've got a couple of starters out there. You think about Erasmo Ramirez, Alex Colomé, Nathan Carnes, that, they get out there 5 innings, 5 2/3, maybe 6, and then they want to get it to the bullpen. And Chris Archer being a big part of it, and obviously Jake Odorizzi, and he will when he comes back, pitching deep in their outings allows them to do that.
Pinch hitter Nick Franklin, the ball in and out of the mid of Espinosa. He was thinking about a quick grab and maybe 2, but up to second base goes Casale, and Franklin pinch hitting for Andrews is out on the ground ball to first.
Here's another thought, Dwayne, and I meant to bring this up earlier, but we got sidetracked. Not all that shocking, but when you think about you talk about John Jaso, coming back. He's a guy that the Rays were going to pencil into that DH spot, and have him a good on-base guy hitting leadoff for the first game of the season before he got hurt. But look who's in that DH spot most of the time now anyway. You'd almost have to go with a platoon situation with John Jaso and Joey Butler.
Yep.
Because Joey Butler has been one of the most productive hitters in this lineup, the most productive hitter in this lineup if you go by average, and he's done it against righties and lefties. So do you want to take him out of the lineup or leave Jaso out of the lineup, or do you find a position for him, and then who comes out there? That's going to be an interesting decision and an interesting juggling act that is going to be taken on by Kevin Cash and the staff.
Yeah, but what a great dilemma to be in, because you know that Jaso can come back and contribute offensively, and you'd rather obviously have it that way than the other way around. And it's going to be really interesting whether, for example, DeJesus has been outstanding. He's been in left field. He's been the DH, left-handed hitter. You put Butler out there, divide time between those two, but Butler's been so good against both lefties and righties.
That's
you hate
what
to
I
limit
mean.
his time.
I know, and so who has to come out, and is the net a plus? You may add Jaso, but you're going to lose to Jesus or Butler. Okay, so where do you make out in that equation? And so, like you said, it's nice to have him coming back, but he's going to end up taking time away from a guy who has been extraordinarily productive, or a guy that's been, look at David DeJesus, what he's done.
Up the middle into center by Kiermaier, and the throw's going to come through to the plate, and Casale stops at third. Kevin Kiermaier punches one sharply through the middle, and getting to it quickly, Taylor out there to prevent Casale an opportunity from scoring.
Yeah, the key word, sharply, like you just said. And Charlie Montoya, look how far down the line he is to make sure that he allows his base runner, in this case Curt Casale, to see him and to be able to make a quick decision to get back to the bag.
Here's Jake Elmore with men at first and third here in the 7th inning.
So yeah, getting back to that decision, Kiermaier's going to be in center and Sousa Jr. is going to be in right. So for, maybe you start getting, think about first base here or there until Loney comes back.
Well, the Rays have some interchangeable parts, and that's one of the advantage they have of being that interchangeable with their position players. Elmore takes a strike, and that's by design. I mean, that goes back really to the original takeover of this team and the transition from the Devil Rays to the Rays, and the philosophy and the overall approach. The versatility was a big part of that, and it helps you better utilize all the different parts of this team that you're going to have.
And that's caught on. I mean, and the Rays aren't the only team, doing it. They were one of the first with that versatility, just in helping out with their roster, because they just can't go out and throw $100 million at every free agent that's available.
Yeah, well, and I really think the Rays pioneered that way to the extent that they have so many players who are versatile on their roster. 1-2 now to Elmore. You know, used to be a team would have, well, we have one guy who's a utility player. He can play 3 positions, maybe 4. You might have one guy and another guy sort of might be able to play a couple positions. That was it. Now, the Rays have seen the advantage of having so many different players who can play so many different positions. It just increases your options. And we used to refer to it as creating depth through versatility. But it also gives you the flexibility of handling various situations you're going to be in. So it helps the way you run a game. The pitch popped up, foul. Espinosa's after it, but he runs out of room. And the count on Elmore remains a ball and 2 strikes. So all of these topics here, and this is one where people ask, well, how does this team win? Well, number one, they've caught the ball. Number 2, their pitching's been remarkable. They've helped it along by handling it the way they have to make it be effective. And they've had all of these movable parts as well. And that's a big part of their success story. Cut and a miss. Elmore out on strikes. The Rays threaten but leave 2 and lead 3-0. Showdown is brought to you by your Tampa Bay area Mazda dealers. One beautiful shot right there with the Capitol Dome being refurbished. Matt Andriese, a great job by the Rays right-hander. They got 2 innings from Geltz, and Andriese coming on for 4 tonight. Scoreless innings from Andriese. They together will be our T-Mobile game changers. Steve Geltz, 2 scoreless innings, perfect innings, and Matt Andriese, 4 scoreless innings, giving up 2 hits and a walk and picking up a couple strikeouts. That walk was an intentional walk. And as we move into the bottom of the 7th here in Washington, the Rays hold a 3-run lead and go to the bullpen again. Well, Andriese, after working 5 2/3 against the White Sox, goes 4 out of the bullpen tonight. And here is Kevin Jepsen.
Boy, could this night have worked out any better for the Rays thus far? You got a lead. You got 6 innings from Geltz and Andriese, and now you got your pen set up with Jepsen, and then you got to figure Boxberger, McGee, Boxberger, depending on matchups. So it's set up exactly as the Rays would have envisioned it.
Well, that first pitch, and Jepsen slips in his delivery, as he missed with that first pitch wide. 1-0. It has been raining. The rain has let up a little bit. It continues to fall. First and foremost, the Rays want to make sure Jepsen is okay and see what they can do with the mound. Watch this. You wonder about that with that foot planted, and then something caused it to give way one way or another. Says he's all right. Pitch is foul back. 1-1. Clint Robinson, Danny Espinosa, and Ian Desmond due up. A ball, 2 strikes. Well, what a night Robinson had last night. Home run, a double, a walk, a single. Got a fly ball to left and picked up another single. Now 2-2. Jepsen last worked 1 inning on Sunday. He got the save in the 2-1 win for the Rays over the White Sox. And the count is full on Robinson. Robinson fouls it away. Staying alive on the fastball. It was a 96, 97 mile per hour fastball.
And Jepsen showing good velocity here tonight. And that's the key to his game. You know, he commands that fastball to both sides of the plate. That allows him to then expand the zone with that good curveball that he has. And it allows him to be an effective late inning reliever. Got to make a pitch here, though. Full count. Don't want to put him on.
Fly ball into left. De Jesus has it lined up and makes the catch. So that's the first out here in the 7th. Well, every Thursday is Throwback Rays Day, brought to you by Chrysler. Tune in tomorrow and post the best Rays vintage photo of yourself by using the hashtag Throwback Rays. We'll select the best photo and feature it in the post game.
And that's throwback right there. You got the old style jersey with the different hues. And then how about the leopard skin or leopard print umbrella?
Yeah, and then the shorts, the plaid shorts. That's a good look, top to bottom.
I didn't see the shorts.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
See, how about that?
I mean, everything clashing. I have a headache.
Yep. The fact that it all clashes then makes it, interestingly enough, consistent in its own inconsistent sort of way. So there's a theme, a variation on a theme going there. Two 2-0.
I'd like to see the shoes.
That's walking artwork right there.
It's very busy, no question.
Or in this case, sitting artwork.
Got a silver bullet, glove,
in a brown bag, makes it perfect.
He can only be sitting on the porch.
2-1 now. This could be dangerous if he doesn't get that poncho on soon.
Yeah, the clock is ticking, my man. Setting a horrible example.
He's being attacked by a poncho.
And he's losing badly.
There's a foul ball. It's 2-2.
Any other random fan we could take a shot at?
That's great. I mean, our crew's right on top of everything here. Nice going. I just hope, we better send someone to help him. It could get dangerous at one point. Todd needs to go help him.
Where is Todd?
Well, we wondered about that last inning.
Drifted behind the waterfall and nowhere to be seen.
Full count now. Well, apparently it's a contagious malady going on here.
I think I'd just rather be wet.
There you go. Pop left side and back. Casale's after it and has a play. Just about ran out of room, but just enough. 2 gone.
Staying with it and looking right up into the rain. Nice job by Curt Casale.
Two outs with the bases empty. He and Desmond were singled in the 5th inning. It was retired back in the 2nd on an outstanding play by Souza Jr. in foul territory. Chopper to short. Cabrera's got it. The throw in time. We're through 7 innings in Washington, and the Rays lead 3-0. Tonight's game summary brought to you by Golden Diamond Source. The Rays holding a 3-0 lead, getting solo home runs from Steven Souza Jr. and the first Major League homer from Curt Casale in the 5th inning. They added an unearned run in the 6th. 2 innings for Steve Geltz and 4 for Matt Andriese. They get 1 from Kevin Jepson. And as they go into the 8th, the Rays lead the Washington Nationals 3-0. Blake Trinan is the new pitcher for Washington.
For the 26th time, even up 2-2 record, 4.45 earned run average in 32 1/3 innings of work.
Here's Evan Longoria leading off, and the first pitch is a strike. Well, Trinan 6'5", born in Wichita, Kansas. Facing the middle of the Rays order, starting with Longoria, and it's an 0-2 count.
Well, how about those breaking balls there by Trinan? 89 and 91. Boy, coming at you downhill, like you said, 6 feet 5 inches tall. Evan in the hole.
One ball, 2 strikes. Trinan made the transformation from a Razorback to a Jackrabbit. He was at Arkansas and then wound up at South Dakota State. And a cut and a miss. Longoria is out number 1 in the 8th. Follow the Rays all season with MLB.com at Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. At Bat is up to the moment with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, StatCast, and more. Get MLB.com at Bat for your smartphone or tablet. Here is David DeJesus. Hot shot. Past Rendon, a diving attempt on one hop. DeJesus gets it by him, and David is 2 for 4 tonight. Rays have a base runner. Here's Logan Forsythe. DeJesus aboard for the second time. See, the rain has picked up again. It let up a little bit in the bottom of the 7th. The pitch is inside. 1-0. There is a pitch. Now 1-1. Well, we now have a Jackrabbit pitching to a Razorback. Logan Forsythe out of the University of Arkansas.
Just keeps getting weirder and weirder.
People trying to put ponchos on. Jackrabbits pitching to Razorbacks.
Razorbacks becoming Jackrabbits.
Yep. Hard to sort out sometimes. Let's do the best we can. 1 on, 1 out, 1-1 to count to Logan Forsythe. And that's a check swing foul ball up that right side just past Espinosa.
Boy, Danny Espinosa almost in position to make a play there because he's holding the runner on. So he's hanging close to first base. That little check swing on that ball running in on Forsythe. And here it is.
Two and 2. 7 innings for Zimmerman. Blake Trinan working to his third hitter. And a strike on the outside corner. And Forsythe is out, number 2. Well, here's what's coming up tomorrow on Rays Live. The pregame show presented by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Chris Archer there with the towel draped around his neck. He'll be pitching, and we'll hear from him. And a feature on Rays players and their favorite sites in Washington, D.C. Steven Souza Jr. Now he bunts. Trying it off the hill, barehanded pickup and a high throw over the head of Espinosa. De Jesus will hit third and head for the plate, and the throw is wide. That's going to go into the dugout, and Souza Jr. is going to come all the way around to score. So on that bunt, De Jesus scores, and Souza Jr. comes all the way around, and the Rays add 2 more to make it 5-0.
Turns out to be a brilliant play by Steven Souza Jr. laying the bunt down. It's been raining heavily into that infield. You get a wet baseball and a pitcher hurrying to make a throw at first base, and he's going to airmail it, and it becomes a track meet at this point.
And here's a shot right back to the mound off the bat of Cabrera. So Trinan takes that to first with a toss. The Rays get 2 runs, a couple of hits and a couple of errors. Down is brought to you by your Tampa Bay area Mazda dealers. Well, the Rays with a couple runs in the top half of the 8th on a bunt single by Steven Souza. The error on the throw by Trinan, and that allowed 1 run to score, and then the error on the throw by Harper allowed another run to score. The Rays get 2 unearned runs in the top of the 8th. And after a lengthy conversation between the ground crew and the crew chief here, Field and Culbreth, with the rain coming down, we're going to get the tarp unrolled to cover this infield. It's been raining since about 8:40 here, and we've had some heavy rain. It did lighten up for about well, the length of the time that Jepson was in the game in the bottom of the 7th, but it has intensified in the top of the 8th And now they're going to unroll the tarp and cover the infield. You could start to see some spots on that right side of the infield. You can see it. They're covering right now. That were started to be affected by the rainfall. And there's always the question, you know, if you stop play, are you going to be able to resume? And I think there was some concern there that if you don't cover the infield, you know you're not going to be able to continue. And yet the game here is in the late stages, in the bottom of the 8th. And so the game will be rain delayed. This rain originally forecast to come in around midnight has arrived early. We'll take a break and be right back in a moment. We welcome you back to the nation's capital in Washington, D.C. We are set to resume play following the rain delay. Moving into the bottom of the 8th inning, and Ron Belisario, the right-hander, will take over on the hill, facing Jose Lobaton. And that first pitch is fouled back. Ronald Belisario was in camp with the Rays this spring as a non-roster invitee. He wound up going to Durham and had 17 saves for the Durham Bulls. He also had an opt-out in his contract, and so that came up. He had the opportunity to leave the Rays organization, or the other side of that was to have the Rays call him up, and here he is, and in this game tonight. Forsythe at second will handle that one. And so we have one away in the 8th after this 27-minute rain delay. We have now one out in the bottom of the 8th.
Well, Ronald Belisario is going to come at you with the fastball. He's got a very, very good sinker. Sinker, slider, occasional split, and he will roll up some ground balls. One of the highest ground ball rates coming out of the bullpen that you will find.
Here's Michael Taylor. The pitch is wide. See right there in the mid-90s with the fastball. It's 1-1.
Yeah, he's been 93 to 95 of the few fastballs that he's thrown, but the late sinking action, you typically don't see that at that velocity.
Tap foul takes the count to 1-2. Brandon Gomes had been on the mound and actually had warmed up when they decided to cover the infield, and Gomes had been up a couple times in the bullpen. You just can't warm a guy up multiple times and keep doing that and have him go back out there. And so the Rays have decided that Belisario gets the call here as they resume play.
You can't do that in 2015. Maybe 2014. Used to be able to do that all the time, and now we've eradicated that.
2 balls, 2 strikes. And the pitch is a little high. Full count. Well, you know, managers would tell you if they get a guy up 3 times during the span of a game, you better put him in or shut him down. And I think that's where they found themselves with Gomes. And they had the option for Belisario, who's pitched so well at Durham and now with the club. But always key, and you know how valuable pitching is, to protect pitching. And all of these approaches that you see these days has that goal.
And Tommy John surgeries are at an all-time high.
Yeah.
So
what
do we
figure
do?
that one out?
Yeah.
Well, there is ball 4. Taylor draws a 1-out walk. Coming up on Rays Live, the postgame presented by Checkers. You just heard from Rich and Orestes, and they will anchor from the studio our postgame coverage. We'll have the Kevin Cash press conference and Todd Callis providing interviews from the clubhouse. Now Matt Dendecker will pinch hit. Want to know the count to the Nationals outfielder, pinch hitting. Down to first. There's a play at second out there. They get the lead man. Cabrera taking the toss from Elmore. And we go back around to the top of the order with 2 outs and a runner at first.
I'll tell you what, Ronald Belisario could be an absolute steal for this Rays bullpen. You know, his ability to have the stuff that he has with the velocity that he has and the ability to get ground balls at the rate that he does. You know, you start to envision early in the count outs, and you can have quick, efficient innings. You can pitch it back-to-back days, back-to-back-to-back days because of it, and just further bolster that Rays bullpen.
And that pitch a little close. Escobar drops his bat. The count is 1-1.
I don't know what that ball hit or didn't hit.
And there's ball 2, 2-1. Well,
come to expect it.
Tapper toward third. Barehanded pickup, and the throw is there in time. Escobar, the third out of the inning. A man left. We go to the ninth with the Rays leading 5-0. Video summary of this game takes us into the ninth inning with the Rays leading 5-0 and facing veteran right-hander Casey Janssen. Blake Trinan pitched 1 inning, gave up 2 unearned runs on 2 hits and picked up 2 strikeouts. And Curt Casale opens the ninth inning against Janssen. One hopper, and that skips past Desmond into left center. Casale makes a turn, but will hang on at first base.
Well, Ian Desmond has had his issues at shortstop all season long, and that ball was roped by Curt Casale, but the way that it got into the outfield, he doesn't even get a glove on it, and if he did, he just flipped this off the thumb maybe right there. It's been a difficult year for Ian Desmond defensively, and at this point it's seeped over into his offense.
Well, here's Belisario. Not only is he making his Rays debut on the mound, but he gets an at bat. 1-1 to count. The Rays started Geltz tonight. Then Andriese. Jepson. It's Belisario with a count of 2-1.
Odds on a swing.
It's tough to go out there and not swing. You know that.
Could have been instructed.
It's still tough not to swing.
Well, I agree. I agree. Hey, here we
There's
go.
a little bouncing ball foul. So the count is 2-2.
Yeah, when you get instructed from the bench, hey, listen, you haven't swung a bat in a long time, need you to pitch, you're not going to be a hero, we're up 5-0, go up there and don't swing. And I think that's when you go up there and you call an audible.
Well, it was too good not to swing. And a liner into left, and Robinson's going to make the catch. Well, you swing like that, hey, you got to swing.
Or you DH him. That's right. That's true with Cabrera.
How about that?
Hey, listen, what do we say, Dwayne, all the time? All you can do is go up there, put in a good at-bat, and hit the ball hard.
That's right. And that's what he did. Now here's the top of the order, Kevin Kiermaier. Kiermaier taps it foul. Take another look at the swing by Belisario.
Down and through the baseball. Hit that ball hard. Don't come in on Belisario. Quick hands.
A 2-strike count on Kiermaier. The Rays with 5 runs and 11 hits tonight. Now 1-2. Well, the rain delay of 27 minutes chased a few folks home, more than a few. Got a crowd of just under 29,000 here tonight. Now it's 2-2 on Kiermaier. Kiermaier sends it into center field. Coming straight in, Taylor makes the catch. So 2 outs, and Casale, who opened with a base hit, still at first. Now Jake Elmore, who had a hit in the 4th. Pitch is wide, 1-0. Pitch stays in. Liner into center, and that's going to fall in front of Taylor. Down to second goes the Rays catcher Casale. Elmore is 2 for 5.
Jake Elmore always does a nice job of handling the bat. You know, that's why when you think about the Rays lineup as it's been constructed here tonight, Kevin Kiermaier has been hot as of late. You know, if you can have him at the top of the order with the speed dynamic, Jake Elmore, the way that he can handle a bat, shoot the ball the other way. I like that 1-2 combination. Although then you think about Joey Butler, and he's not too bad up there either.
Yeah, he's been nothing but getting a hit or 2 or 3 every day. Well, Chris Archer's going to be on the mound tomorrow for the second game of this 2-game set here in Washington. These two teams playing 4 straight games, 2 at the Trop and now 2 here in Washington. Look out, Rocco Baldelli ducking that foul ball. Chris Archer and Doug Fister, the probable listing for the matchup tomorrow night. Inside, now 1-2. Rays have scored 5 runs. 3 of those have been unearned. And that takes care of Longoria, who's out on strikes. Rays lead 2 and go to the bottom of the 9th, leading 5-0. Brought to you by Tampa Bay Radiation Oncology. When cancer strikes, strike back with CyberKnife. By Hattrick's Tavern, who is proud to introduce Hattrick's Catering. By Kubota. To find a participating dealer, go to FloridaKubotaDealers.com. And by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Rays carry a 5-0 lead into the bottom of the 9th inning. Steve Geltz worked the front 2, Andres for 4, Jepson 1. Belisario getting credit for a full inning in the 8th, and he opens the 9th against Anthony Rendon. And misses on the first pitch, ball 1. Ball 1 strike. It's 1-2. Three fly balls from the Washington second baseman tonight. count goes to 2-2 on him. Forces another 2-2 pitch. Well, the Rays to this point have a combination 2-hit shutout going. It's a 5-0 ball game. The Rays have thrown 6 shutouts this year. Ooh, very close right there.
Well, you'd like to have that pitch. I mean, I think Ronald Belisario, among others, that pitch looking good.
Ground ball third. That'll be gloved by Longoria, whose throw arrives in plenty of time for the first out. So Belisario comes back and gets that first out again.
You got to like what you've seen out of Belisario so far. A live arm, 93 to 95, tremendous sink, keeps the ball. Like we said early on, his game is keep the ball on the ground, pick up the occasional strikeout because of the stuff. And here showing the ability, multiple innings. Rays pitching staff just got better.
There's Bryce Harper. And the pitch to him is a strike. Harper had the base hit to left in the 4th inning, his hit tonight. The Rays retired him when he hit into the shift in the 6th, and Longoria on the right side of the infield handled that ground ball. 2 strikes. An 0-2 count. This one is down. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Rays with a little breathing room in this potential shutout. It's 5-0. And I know it comes as no surprise when you look at the other shutouts. Fly ball into center. And that's tracked down by Kiermaier at the warning track. 2 gone. The Rays in those 6 shutouts have won 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, then up to 3-0, 3-0, and down to 1-0. And they lead 5-0 right now with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th.
What a difference a night makes. I mean, Washington 23 hits last night, 16 runs. Seemingly everything they hit fell in or was tattooed.
And Clint Robinson up here takes ball 1.
What do they say, Dwayne? In baseball, momentum is only as good as the next day's starting pitcher. And for the Rays, that was Steve Geltz. And he set the tone early.
Well, he did indeed. 2 perfect innings. One ball, 2 strikes. Out to the right side where Longoria is there to make the pickup and the throw. And this game is over. So a ground